Woo! Good evening, people. Oh my goodness, it's a late one, people. Wow. Um. So, uh, did everyone catch that 2020 special just now? Um. I want to read the room first here to see if uh the majority of people here watched it. Um. Give me a second while I look at the chat. Um. Yeah, this might take a second. Uh, Partly because
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Eric, I'm at 5. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And oh my goodness, man. Joseph Kane gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Joseph Kane. Appreciate you, buddy. Wow. Okay. So, all right. So most people watched it. So I apologize to those of you who missed it. I mean, you'll get a general idea, more or less, at least what I think of it. But I mean, first of all, there's no spoilers because um it was at least what you would expect. At the very least, what you would expect. I'll say that much. I want to thank everybody for being here, first of all. I know it's late, so thank you guys for hanging out. I'm surprised there's this many people in here, frankly, but um yeah, so right, there is nothing to spoil. And I realize people are saying, well, mainstream media, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Before I get started, though, I want to say thank you to all of you who got memberships and joined. Joined the Discord. That's one of the perks of the Discord is if you join, or sorry, one of the perks of memberships. Few perks. I don't offer a lot of perks. But I do offer access to my Discord, and so big thank you to those of you who joined and watched it. Now you can't catch the replay in my Discord, so don't join the Discord. Don't get a membership to join the Discord to watch the Karen Reed thing now, because we watched it live. It's over. So now if you want to chit chat and hang out with other members that are not in the live stream chats when I'm not live, that's a way to do it. You get a membership, and then you can hang out in the Discord and interact with some of your favorite people here in the chat. And once in a while, I might pop up and say hello, but I don't do that very often. So, but today was one of those rare occasions. Yeah, man, that was tonight. AA Ron, it's good to see you, buddy. AA Ron's in the house, y'all. We love AA Ron here, don't we? We love AA Ron. So yeah, that was tonight, buddy. Yeah, what's up, JFK? Yeah, man. It was trash. It was trash. You know, and that's the thing is I know Turtle Boy tweeted and Turtle Boy tweeted something that I respectfully disagree with, honestly. I mean, I can't say that he's wrong, that I disagree with like everything that he said. but he made a point to say that hold on, let me read it so I don't misquote him. Because I'm sure a lot of people were saying stuff to him, and he was like, look, guys, they're not going to get to everything, even real important shit, but all of that has already been hashed out in court and in the court of public opinion. What hasn't been seen until now was the real Karen Read in her own words, and she came across very well. That matters more than anything. What it looked like to me in regards to Karen Read was that they just kind of like, it seemed like that was the same old interview that they did before. They just like used clips that they didn't use before, and then they showed her in the hotel room. That's the stuff that we hadn't really seen before. And you know, I mean, yeah, you know, we have seen Karen Read in her own words, because 2020 did, or was it Dateline? I don't even know. I mean, whatever. But you know, her story hasn't changed in any way, shape, or form. But we have seen Karen Read in her own words before. And although that was really nice, to, you know, the things that she was saying about her mom and everything like that was nice, you know. But there was a lot of details. I mean, they even, it was just the same old narrative. I feel like it was really still leaning towards the narrative that Karen Read was guilty. And you know, the most favorable thing that they showed as far as the case goes in regards to Karen Read was the stuff that sorry, Clubber is really hyper right now and he's very distracting. Clubber, I need you to relax, buddy. I love you, but you need to relax, please. Okay? Go lay down. I know, I love you too, buddy, but go lie down. Go lay down. Okay, we'll play with your toy, but all right, whatever. Hold on. Let me read this and then I'll get back into my train of thought here. Tim Blanche, thank you so much. Hey, Will. Hey, Cherry. The 2020 was one-sided against Karen. Mainstream media sucks. That's why we hang out with you, the real deal. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And Tim Blanche sent that twice. Thank you, Tim Blanche. I sorry that if you thought the first one didn't go through, I don't know how that works. Danny Thomas is now a member. Thank you, Danny Thomas. I could have sworn I saw you in the Discord already, though. Aren't you already a member? Okay. Okay. Today I really don't give a shit. If somebody paid for a membership or not to get into the Discord, I don't care that much. I mean, I kind of care, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm like, whatever. Oh, he wasn't there. Okay. So like, yeah, man, you know, here's the thing about Aiden's comment about the court of public opinion. See, the problem with that is that 2020, there's a lot of people out there, and I was discussing this with my Discord people. There's a lot of people out there who religiously watch 2020. And a lot of those people who religiously watch 2020 aren't following the Karen Read case, and they're relying on 2020 for accurate information. Now, although they didn't feed anything inaccurate necessarily, Clever, please stop, buddy. Please go lie down. Clever, stop. Go lay down. Although they didn't really give any directly inaccurate information. They left out a lot of really important things because I feel like the purpose, or at least I feel like the unspoken thing that we all had an understanding of, the unspoken understanding that we all seem to have prior to the airing of this 2020 episode, was that in light of the things that are very public now, they're going to put out this episode of 2020, right? This title, The Perfect Storm, that they had and everything. I felt like they were going to cover a lot of this stuff. And they didn't cover anything that was really important. What troubles me the most is when they were covering the trial, they were absolutely hyper focused on Proctor. And I thought, and I remember when this first happened, I told you guys what I thought about that. I told you, yes, that's a problem, but I don't want this to be the one thing that everybody focuses on is Proctor's inappropriate texting in regards to Karen Read. I think that is a distraction more than anything else. It's a distraction from all the facts of the case. Now, that particular fact is troubling, but what that simply should serve, the purpose that simply should serve, is the fact that it should bring eyes more on Proctor and whether or not he did his job. Like when you see, okay, wait a minute, this guy Proctor, he's the lead investigator and he's texting his superiors and his colleagues and making all of these inappropriate comments in regards to Karen Read. What else did he do wrong? That's the purpose that should serve. That should make you go, shit, if this guy's capable of that, then as an investigator, did he execute his duties as an investigator? Because the answer to that is clearly no. Seeing as the issues with the taillight, they barely went over that stuff. They didn't go over how the prosecution tried to deceive the jury, and that came out during trial by inverting the video. They didn't go over the issues with the pieces of taillight. They said that the pieces of taillight that they had perfectly matched Karen Read's taillight well as fitting. But what they failed to mention was the fact that there was too many pieces of taillight and that there has to be another source. Now, this is something that we all just kind of recently started focusing on. My last live stream, I showed the channel Mass Accountability, who in October of 2022 got footage of Kenny Berkowitz's son driving a Canton police cruiser with the entire taillight well of the taillight missing. Not just the taillight, but the taillight, the entire housing of the taillight was missing off of that thing. And it was in the same month that they altered the original police report, the original report. So and the fact that it was Kenny Berkowitz's son. The son of the off-duty chief of police who just happened by 34 Fairview Road and found a piece of taillight and was like, oh, looky here, Michael Proctor. I found a piece of taillight just randomly as I was driving by. And that the inspection sticker was expired on that vehicle. And here, this guy's driving around with this thing in uniform, running errands and shit. And Mass Accountability called him out on it, not knowing exactly everything that we know about the taillight at the time. Mass Accountability is sick in the hospital. Oh man, that's terrible. I don't know who he is. I don't want to know who he is, but I hope that he's doing better. So anybody who has a line directly to him, tell him that the Glare community hopes that he pulls through and is feeling better very soon. The Pilgrim Shadow, thank you so much. Cherry and Will, thank you for setting up the viewing party. I have no TV, so it was wonderful to watch in real time with the whole cast of characters. Right on. I'm really glad that you got to watch it then. I'm really glad. So and Martin Rich just became a new member. Thank you so much. And the fact that they had Vinnie Politan on as like the end all be all expert on this case was pretty annoying as well. So the thing is you have, there's a lot of people out there, and the whole idea, we're trying to spread awareness, because the only strength against this corruption that is the force behind Karen Read going through what she's going through, the only force fighting against that is how large the public interest gets. The idea is to expose it so that there's more public interest. And with the kind of exposure that 2020 is capable of, and the kind of demographic, the large numbers of viewers that they have, I mean, they could have used that opportunity to responsibly inform their viewers on the facts of this case. Now, it's only 2 hours and there's a lot to cover. Like, Netflix does a documentary on this and it's going to be a mini series. You know, Hulu does a documentary on this. It's going to be a mini series. HBO, same thing. In order to fit everything in there, you know, and honestly, that's the thing, is I feel like, you know, as cool as it was to see Turtle Boy up there, I feel like the time that they used to talk about Turtle Boy could have been used to talk about the ARCA experts. If we're talking about continuity here and we're talking about fitting everything within 2 hours, you know, what's more important to educate the public on? Turtle Boy and his controversial blogging? Or, and I'm glad he got the exposure, don't get me wrong. I'm really glad. When I saw him, I was like, fuck yeah, all right. So I'm glad he got the exposure. I'm not bitching about that. But what I'm saying is, as far as if you're fighting with time issues to fit as much information in a 2 hour slot as much as you can, well, you know, I don't need to know about Turtle Boy. I think it's more vital to share the fact, if you're trying to let the public decide fairly if Karen Read is guilty or innocent of this crime, why didn't they spend some time explaining the ARCA experts? Why didn't they ever bring up the federal investigation into Michael Morrissey's office? Why didn't they bring up Sandra Birchmore and the discrepancies in between that case and this case? I don't understand why 2020, what they've accomplished here. Because what they ended up doing here is they you know, they had these people on who I've never fucking seen before. I don't know who, and I realize that a lot of people who've been following this case closely know who this woman is. I guess people in my Discord were saying she's an ex, the redheaded lady. I didn't give a shit who the fuck that lady was. She's completely fucking irrelevant to the entire goddamn case. I don't give a fuck about that lady. And it's not because I'm following the case and I you know what I mean? But if I were just now taking an interest in this case, you know, I you know what I mean? I'm going to be, and 2020 is going to be the outlet that informs me on the case, then I'm going to think that this redheaded lady is vital to John's life. And everything that she says is like, oh my God, this redheaded lady is, oh, everything she says is so important, because they make it out to be that way. But the truth is, when you're already educated on this case, you don't give a fuck about that lady or what the fuck she has to say. She's fucking nobody. Carrie Roberts would refer to her as the dancer. You know what I mean? That's all she would be, you know, that's all she is to Carrie Roberts, the dancer. You know what I mean? So she's irrelevant. I don't give a fuck about that lady or what she has to say. You know? I mean, honestly, like his family, that's a different story. You know, all right, fine, his family. Yes, of course. But it's interesting that we didn't hear anything from Paul O'Keefe. He didn't conduct this interview, but we also didn't hear anything from any member of Karen's family besides Karen, right? And I thought it was interesting that they talked about Turtle Boy, but I don't think they approached him for an interview. I feel like we would have heard about that maybe. You know, I don't think Turtle Boy would have denied an interview with 2020. If Turtle Boy is willing to do interviews or make appearances on channels like mine, you know, or make appearances on any other channel that is interested in talking about the Karen Read case so that he can get the word out there, because that's been his MO this entire time. Turtle Boy seems to have been like, I'll go on fucking anybody's platform if I get the chance to educate people on this case, because that's how strongly I feel about it. So in that regard, I don't think that they even approached Turtle Boy to interview him for this. So they didn't even get his side of things, right? They just put him out there as the blogger who is stirring up controversy, and he's to blame, not the reason to blame. That's not what they quoted, but I'm saying this is the narrative that they spun for all of the pink shirts and the pink shirt people. You know? So that's all they did. That's all they fucking did. You know, they spent like 30 seconds to paint a picture that, you know, showing Vinnie Politan going, who shows up to a courthouse in support of the defendant? Fucking Vinnie Politan is basically just a fucking male version of fucking Nancy Grace. All he has to do is fucking look like he's smelling a fart all the time and grow a pair of tits, and then he'll be Nancy Grace. Who shows up to a courthouse in support of a defendant? I mean, that's what he reminded me of. That's it. You know, like this fucking guy says this shit, and then they show Turtle Boy and show him talking smack on his channel like he does, and yelling through a bullhorn and making it seem like, you know, he's responsible for everyone's interest in this case, which, yes, he definitely deserves the credit for educating a lot of people and getting this case out there for most people to take interest in. That's absolutely true. But what I'm saying is the narrative that they spun was that he was just a psycho blogger who got all these psycho people all fucking riled up. And that's the only reason that people are supporting Karen Read. They didn't actually give any valid reasons why we're supporting Karen Read. They didn't give any valid reasons. They didn't mention anything about the Alberts or the McCabe's, really. Just a couple of people who testified. They made Jen McCabe just look like somebody who loved John and missed him. And, you know, that she Googled this thing at 227. But, you know, the prosecution brought in experts that proved that the 227 search didn't happen. I mean, that's the narrative they spun. So I don't, you know, it was just really shitty. Like there was a whole misinterpretation of the support for Karen Read and where it's coming from and why it's so justified. Because we're not a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists, but they did nothing to even defend the people who support Karen Read. They did nothing to do that. They gave none of the reasons that some of us feel very strongly about this. Mark S., thank you so much. Wasn't the interviewer present when Karen was threatened. I don't know. I don't know. Um, I mean, right. And like they closed the whole Jen McCabe thing with, her saying, I did not delete that text. I didn't delete any texts, blah, blah, blah. And they made her look like little Miss Innocent. Now, here's the thing is I understand them not even remotely mentioning Colin Albert. I can understand that. Here's the thing about that. A lot of people are saying, hey, they're not going to discuss the McAlberts in that situation. Well, why didn't they discuss the McAlberts in all that situation? They left all that out, blah, 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 blah. Well, you have to understand that they're a major news conglomerate who isn't really that interested in reporting the news more than they are just catering to the true crime genre and demographic. That's it. That's all true crime is. This is to them, this is just another true crime case. Right? To them, this is just another documentary preceding a Lifetime original movie that's inevitably going to take place. So they don't give a fuck about putting out all the facts. But also, they're worried about litigation. None of the McAlberts are charged with anything. Michael Proctor isn't even charged with anything yet. So none of these, nobody else except Karen Read has been charged with a crime. So that's why they're worried about a lawsuit. And of course they mentioned the civil suit, didn't they? I love that they mentioned the civil suit of the O'Keefes against C.F. McCarthy's The Waterfall Bar and Grill, and of course Karen Read. I love that they mentioned that, but didn't mention the federal investigation into Michael Morrissey's Norfolk County District Attorney's office. I find that very interesting. So this whole thing, I mean, this is where I respectfully disagree with Aiden here, because I'm a little fired up about it still. Not what Aiden said, but what I just watched. I'm a little fired up about it still. So I have to disagree with what Aiden said here. Is this is 2020. The court of public opinion has not been established. If there are still large platforms out there that could put this information out there and then they fail to do so, well, that's more people that are most likely just by default going to side with whoever is against the person who's being accused. Because in the true crime genre, okay, the person who's accused is already guilty. And in a true crime television show for the sake of entertainment, who's trying to entertain that demographic, well, then what they're going to do is they're going to feed you that. They're going to give those people what they want. They're going to feed the wolves. Those pitchforkers who want blood, without knowing all the facts, and they're all too fucking lazy to actually dig into the facts. Well, then what are they going to do? They're going to look at the accused person, who was Karen Read, and they're going to go, oh, she's guilty. Did you see that? Oh my God, she's guilty. Did you see how she said that? Oh my God. Just like they're doing on Twitter. Like Karen Read did a particular, like it was a split second tick where she was talking about her mom, like looking back, like trying to remember, and her eyes got really open. She goes, my mom, if she, her pet peeve. And then people just like clipped that shit and like paused that shit with her eyes wide open. And they're like, oh my God, look how crazy and psychotic she is. If you look into her eyes, you can see that she has no soul. I mean, this is the kind of shit people do. And 2020 just fed that. That's what they did. I mean, It was just a crock of shit, is what it was. Because, like I said, I mean, again, like I like, as glad as I was to see Aiden get some, some publicity, you know, I didn't like that they didn't really give him any credit in anything because they didn't discuss. This is what they always do. They did the same thing that local media does when talking about Turtle Boy. They did the same thing. They'll talk about this controversial blogger, but they'll leave out the things that Turtle Boy investigated and uncovered and exposed. Why he's so controversial? Because he's an independent journalist who's gone out there independently and collected evidence, data that proves that Karen Read, I mean, there's so many pieces of exculpatory evidence that Aiden is responsible for exposing to the public. But see, if they do that, they have to credit him. And they don't want to do that. For whatever reason, mainstream media does not want to give Turtle Boy credit for the things that he has uncovered. It's very, very interesting. I keep watching this happen over and over and over again. I see all these different news channels do it. And this national news news station, this news channel, they just did that. This national news documentary program just did that. They just mentioned Turtle Boy, said the controversial blogger, but didn't discuss anything that he has uncovered, right? Because again, I think they're afraid of litigation from Turtle Boy. If they have to credit, if they credit him for that without contacting him and putting a mic on him and putting the lights on him and sitting him down in a hotel room somewhere and interviewing him, and they use any of the information that he's responsible for uncovering, then Turtle Boy might have a civil case against them. So they're going to avoid that. So we're not seeing anything being, we're not seeing news being reported. We're seeing a news conglomerate worry about litigation. That's what we just saw. 2 hours of a news conglomerate worried about litigation. I mean, that's in a nutshell what just happened. Protecting themselves from litigation. So this is what makes this so strange and complicated, because there's so much information out there that's verifiable, that's provable. There's so much information in this case that's provable, verifiable. But the problem is that you have to credit Turtle Boy for uncovering it, right? You have to do that. So you're not seeing the news coverage that you would normally see, because it's usually somebody who works for a news conglomerate who uncovers this. But that's the thing, is the reason why you might be asking yourself, well, what would be their reason? Why don't they do this? What's the problem with just giving Turtle Boy a little credit? What's the problem with being like this independent blogger? Well, guess what? All that's going to do is create competition for them. All it's going to do, what they're afraid of, and make no mistake, this is absolutely 100% absolutely factual, true, and I stand by it, and I'll take it to my grave. The reason why mainstream media avoids giving Turtle Boy credit for these particular findings is because it will inspire more people to be independent journalists. They'll see the positive public reaction from Turtle Boy. They'll see that, and then they'll go, well, I'll go out and do that. Because of this generation's thirst for relevance, Turtle Boy could absolutely spark a whole movement of independent journalism. And that scares the shit out of mainstream media. Why? Because it will take money out of their pockets. It will cost them credibility. It will fuck up the fact that they count on narratives. Because whichever way is paying more is the way they're going to lean. Whichever way the sponsors are paying higher for is the way they're going to lean. This way or that way. Whichever side the money pile is higher. That's how mainstream media works now. So, if Turtle Boy gets all this positive national attention, the whole world starts going, man, that Turtle Boy, man, can you believe that? An independent journalist, or even if they say a blogger, a loud fucking in your face blogger. Well, then he's going to inspire a whole movement of people who want to do exactly that. They want to get the same kind of attention, and they're going to follow in Turtle Boy's footsteps to try to do exactly what he does. You're going to get most people who are just going to fuck it up. Thank you, Melly, so much. I appreciate you. So if that happens, again, if that were to happen, well, then you're going to have more and more people who are going to go, man, you know what? Fuck the news. I'm going to go see what Turtle Boy's writing. I'm going to go see what the next Turtle Boy is writing and reporting. Because I can't count on mainstream media anymore to give me accurate information and give me all the facts. Piney Woods Law and Crime, welcome. Thank you. It's good to see you again. That ex-girlfriend from 20 years ago with the badge number necklace, clearly a bunny boiler. Just nuts. Sorry, I missed the Discord tech issues. Right. That's usually what it is. I was telling my Discord something very similar. I'm glad you said that, Piney Woods, because I have a friend of mine. I have a good friend. When I first started my YouTube channel, I got to talk to him a few times, and I didn't go out and find him. It just so happened that we became friends, and then later on, he told me about this thing going on, this thing that happened in his life. And I was like, holy shit, dude. Are you kidding me? So he tells me the story. His name is Sean, and here I can share with you. Hold on. Just in case you're interested, you can read this completely separate case. And my buddy Sean was basically responsible for this case blowing wide open, right? And he was telling me straight up, like I watched the Dateline episode that he was on at the time when that episode aired. That episode was the most watched Dateline episode ever at the time, but it was a few years ago. Rosalie, thank you. Rose Lee, thank you so much. Waiting for the Vanity Fair article. Right, exactly. Right. And why weren't Paul's parents interviewed? Now I understand some people just don't want to be interviewed. Okay, fine. But Bill Reed has done interviews before. Bill Reed's done interviews before. I've seen him talking to the press outside of the courthouse. I don't know, but you know, I feel like he would have given that interview, but I don't know. I can't speak for him. So yeah, this dude, he was telling me that when we were watching the Dateline episode, we were talking about, I was like, oh, that one lady that was talking, he was like, oh, her. Yeah. I mean, on the thing, they make her seem like she's like, you know, my mom's best friend and this guy's best friend. And, you know, but she just, she was an acquaintance at best. She showed up here and there. And then as soon as all this happened, it attracted a whole shit ton of people who just wanted to be on camera and talk about shit, right? And that was exactly the vibe that I got from the redhead lady, the the buddy boiler, as Pine put it. So you know, yeah, I take that shit with a grain of salt. Like people who are like, oh, well, I dated John back in blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, lady, you know, I don't care. I don't care. Kelly Steffi, thank you so much. If you believe in the cover up of Sandra Birchmore, then you have to believe Karen Reed is innocent. All the same players. Right. Great point. Which is interesting. Why didn't they bring up Sandra Birchmore in light of everything that's been going on? Why didn't they update it? Good citizen, thank you so much. Hiltz and I, we aren't drinking, but not drinking White Claws. Okay, right on. Yeah, that's what it is. You're gonna get people who just want to be on fucking camera, dude, and want to be able to just can't wait. And then they're gonna have their little fucking wine and cheese parties for the night that it airs, you know. Oh, come on over. Are you coming over? Are you coming over tonight? Can you bring some prosciutto? Can you do that? Because I don't know. Well, Juliana, she's gonna bring over the what is she bringing over? Oh, the stuffed asparagus. Like that's a thing. I'm just saying shit. But I mean, that's what they do. Just look, here comes the part with oh my god, and I was so nervous. You guys have no idea. I was so nervous. When they asked me that, I was like, what? And then right here where you see the commercial, I was like, can you turn down these lights? Because I mean, those lights were so hot. And that's the whole purpose that they do those things is just sit there and have these stupid little fucking wine and cheese parties and celebrate the fact that they were on fucking national TV. I could give a fuck about that redheaded lady, bro. Seriously. Nobody could give a fuck about that redheaded lady. Nobody. So, you know what I mean? More time that could have been put towards the facts. Because I mean, I feel like it's a little important. It's a little important that the jury came back and reached out to the defense, the prosecution, both to say, hey, we found her not guilty on these other charges, but they didn't say anything about that. Counts 1 and 2, we were unanimous that she wasn't guilty. They didn't talk anything about that. They didn't talk anything about the ARCA experts. They didn't even go over Trooper Paul because Trooper Paul was such a fucking train wreck on the stand that they didn't even talk about how fucking botched his testimony and his investigation and his testimony on the investigation was. They didn't even talk about how fucked that was. So sorry, I'm not going to sit here and this is where I respectfully disagree with Aiden. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, you know, they're not going to go over everything. Well, I know they're not going to go over everything, but dude, like there's a lot of stuff that they didn't go over. Like this was clearly a fucking this is a fucking smear job on Karen Reed and Karen Reed support. That's what this was. I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't give a shit what anybody says. That's absolutely what that was. That was a smear job on Karen Reed and the support that she's getting. Amy in Boston, thank you. In my opinion, that was 2 hours we can never get back. Right. Now, I mean, right. I mean, and it was made for views, but I mean, you know, it's amazing because what's really fascinating about this is why, like, until now, you've always seen me go, I don't understand why. Why won't mainstream media talk about this? Why won't they talk about that? Right? But I just explained my theory as to why they won't. And it has a lot to do with Turtle Boy. It really does. So, but the fascinating thing about this is if they were to talk about the thing that makes the story worth doing a 2020 episode on, that's why we were all expecting it at minimum. The only reason that this is 2020 story worthy is because of the same reasons why we're following it, which are the reasons that they ironically left out of the 2020 piece. Otherwise, it's just a fucking murder case, man. It's just another fucking murder case. That's it. They didn't make any effort whatsoever as to try to justify why people are asking questions. They just said what questions people were asking, and some questions people were asking, and what is making us ask them, but no actual exploration into any of it. Like, that's what's crazy is here they are. They're supposed to strive. This is why, like, 2020 not only failed on reporting the news, but they failed on the other aspect as well, which is to just simply entertain. Because it's hella entertaining, dude. It's hella entertaining if you follow crazy shit, to know all of the facts. All of the facts of this case are what makes it so entertaining. It's what makes it such a crazy story. Like, 2020 dropped the ball. 2020 could have absolutely gone over all of the very same things that make all of us follow these things. And then they didn't. What they did was they chose to dedicate an entire 2-hour piece to making us look and feel crazy. Think about that. To make us feel crazy. Because if you're somebody who just looks at the news and goes, man, I mean, it's fucking 2020, you know, if they say so. If you're one of those people and you believe Karen Read's innocent, you know, some of you are going to go, fuck, you know, I don't know. Because if you're not hearing all of the things that are making you support Karen Read being expressed in the media, well, then that's going to fuck with you. It's going to make you ask yourself sometimes if you're crazy. So it's a total gaslight job, but it also makes us all look crazy to everyone else. Can you imagine having to sit there? Somebody whose mind is already made up about Karen Read's guilt, right? Somebody whose mind is already made up. And you go, hey, wait a minute, actually, you know, I could talk to you about this. If they're one of those people who, once their mind is made up, it's made up, and they just kind of shut everything else out, you're just going to sound like a crazy person ranting all this bullshit out at them. They're going to have a defense up. They're not going to take the information you're giving them unless they're open-minded, unless they think critically. They're not going to do it. Kelly, thank you so much. And the fact Alan Jackson said he would put his career on Karen's innocence speaks volumes. Right. I agree. But people could also easily dismiss that as, okay, well, that's just fucking lawyer talk, right? That's what a fucking defense attorney would do. A fucking sleazy defense attorney would swear on his youngest child, on the life of his child, right? That's exactly what they would argue. Well, of course he's going to say that. He's a defense attorney, right? But what seals the deal is that they had Vinnie Politan on there going, well, you know, Alan Jackson is, you know, what was the word that they used to describe him? That Vinnie used to describe him? It was something kind of like, it was almost like he threw shade at him. And then he goes, but Adam Lally, you know, and then they showed Adam Lally like just standing there. What if anything? Blah 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 blah. You know, and then yeah, storyteller, exactly. A nice word for liar. A nice word for a liar is what Vinnie Politan called Alan Jackson. That was the narrative. The narrative was Karen Read is guilty and she's just got a good lawyer and the prosecution doesn't have a good prosecutor. David versus Goliath. David being Adam Lally, fighting for truth and justice, but just isn't a very good litigator. Up against Alan Jackson, superstar, fucking high profile lawyer. You know, that's what they did here. I mean, the overall vibe of this fucking episode of 2020 was just that. Karen Read, guilty, prosecution is dropping the ball and proving it. Because make no mistake, Vinnie Politan is also a good talker. And he sure as fuck, in his own words, playing it safe, sitting on that Vinnie fence, the way that he likes to do, basically called Alan Jackson a liar on national television and got away with it. He called him a liar without calling him a liar. Jen O, thank you so much for becoming a member. Right on. Yeah, it was a gentle euphemism for liar, is all him calling Alan Jackson a storyteller was. So, I mean, it's just fascinating to me, dude. Yeah, this whole thing was a fucking, yeah. And I always watch these things with an open mind, but I'm telling you, so many of these things, so many facts in this case that validate us being Karen Read supporters is due to the findings of Turtle Boy's independent investigations. And the fact that they would have to credit him is the simple fact that they would have to credit him is why they did not bring these things up. I believe that 100%. Mike S. Free Pee Wee. I have some thoughts. Open up the phone lines. Yeah, but just know you may not get through, but I'll open them up. I planned on it. Right on. Sand and Sea give to 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Sand and Sea. You're amazing. Thank you. And Kenneth Tobias, thank you so much. 2 words from 2020 would have set America on fire. Butt dials. Right. They didn't go over any of that shit. They didn't go over Higgins. It's not like they didn't have the footage from the waterfall, because we saw footage from the waterfall on 2020, right? But we didn't see we saw Karen taking shots, but we didn't see Brian Higgins and Brian Albert playing grab ass and kissing each other, and Brian Higgins yelling at John O'Keefe, telling him to come outside to square up. We didn't see that, did we? And of course, no information as far as nothing about the butt dials. The Pilgrim Shadow gifted 5 memberships. Wow, thank you so much. Wow, you guys are all. Yeah, I mean, the only serious journalism now is independent journalism, and that shit is all fucked up. Because Turtle Boy is the first independent journalist that I've ever interacted with since I started a YouTube channel, who I think is actually earned the title of independent journalist. There are plenty of other people with press badges who call themselves independent journalists, and they don't investigate anything. They just make shit up. And that is bad. So it sucks, because what I want is for, I want people like Turtle Boy to be successful, but I also don't want a whole bunch of JLRs running around. You know what I mean? I don't want a bunch of Grant Smith Ellis's running around. That's for goddamn sure. So there's that danger. But it is what it is. I mean, I say whoever the fuck is willing to fucking put in the work and provide me with the correct information, that's who I'm going to support. That's who I'm going to support. I mean, this case is the most eye-opening. Because of this case, I'm going through the most eye-opening experience of my life when it comes to how the world works. And I mean that in the sense of I grew up watching TV, loving TV and loving movies. Of course, I've always known, but I've always known that movies were, actors, and the actors are probably very different people. Of course, I've always known this, of course. So even at a very young age, I knew this, but I was very naive as to how the news was reported. And honestly, I thought it was all politics. I thought it was just politics, just in the last few years, because I was like, man, there's still some news that isn't biased, And then, when Trump came into the picture, that's when I started being like, okay, well, wait a minute, man. News is biased all over the place. COVID happened. That was really eye-opening. But I figured it was mostly just, and this is, again, I was naive. Make fun of me all you want. That's fine. It's fair. But I was naive, thinking that was, just kind of concentrated with anything politically motivated, I didn't think that the ethics would go so out the window to where this would happen in crime cases. I mean, what's a bigger fucking scoop than the fact that there is a district attorney's office that is under federal investigation right now? And that there's dangers. Kudos to Boston 25 and Ted Daniel, by the way, today for exposing this issue with I mean, yeah, let me see if I can pull this up. Okay. Oh my God, where is this shit? I could have sworn I reposted it. Here, I'll just. Yeah, see, this is why I was telling my Discord, don't wait for the documentary. Don't wait for, just like when there's little updates from local news stations, like Ted Daniels been really good about that. He posted today that 9 days before Matthew Farwell was arrested and charged with the killing of Sandra Birchmore, the FBI had a meeting with the chief medical examiner to inform her their findings contradicted her office's suicide ruling. Um, you know, putting out this thing about the filing, that the Norfolk DA says that releasing Trooper Proctor's full phone history outside of law enforcement could compromise privacy and impact other cases. The DA's office says it's determining what if any data should be publicly. I see what you did there. What if any data should be publicly shared and how that would happen? So, kudos to Ted Daniels for that shit, man. You know what I mean? Because 2020 might argue, okay, well, putting that out there might jeopardize those cases, but you have a journalistic moral responsibility. There's something called journalistic integrity, and if you see something that could absolutely affect the public has a right to know. And if this information is out there that Trooper Proctor's behavior and the way that he handled the John O'Keefe case and Karen Reed's prosecution, Karen Reed's indictment, I mean, if that could affect other cases, the public deserves to know about that. Damn the fact that their defense attorneys are going to use it. They're already defense attorneys. They're going to figure it out and use it anyway. It's not going to be because the news put it out there. It's going to be because they're fucking lawyers and that's their goddamn job. So, I mean, mad props, man, to like Ted Daniel and Turtle Boy, of course, who tweeted the same thing in regards to the fact that there's the prosecution filed a motion trying to say that if they get Proctor's work phone and release that stuff, that it's going to compromise the integrity of these other investigations. First of all, let me tell you this. Those investigations are already compromised because Trooper Proctor investigated them. He was in charge of them under Michael Morrissey's watch. Okay? Under Brian Tully and Michael Morrissey's watch. That happened. That already happened. The fact that those cases are affected, those cases are already affected because of who was the lead investigator. That's it. It's not going to be because the defense does anything and exposes something or, gets a hold. It's because Trooper Michael Proctor fucked up. Trooper Michael Proctor is a shitbag. That's the reason why those cases are fucked up. No other reason other than that. And the public deserves to know that. The public deserves to know that the Massachusetts State Police are capable of not only employing someone like this, but promoting someone like this and keeping them under their employ. The public have a right to know this. The public have a right to know that there is an innocent woman, potentially innocent, if we're just going to be fair as far as what the media covers, a potentially innocent woman is on trial for the second time. For the second time. So she might be having her civil rights violated under double jeopardy laws. So there's that too. All of these things, very, very newsworthy. Very newsworthy. 2020 didn't talk about any of that shit. "2020 could have spent that entire 2 hours going over simply the facts of the case without having to interview fucking anybody. And they would have covered a lot. But instead, they thought it was more important to pull at people's heartstrings. I got his badge number right here on my necklace. Right here. I got his badge number and I got his tattoo. I mean, okay, man. All right. You know, but and one could argue, because like on one side of my mouth, I'm gonna be like, well, I could tell you, I could spend all day giving you reasons, giving you things that you could have covered on that 2020 special. But you know, on the other side of my mouth, what anybody else would argue to that is, and rightfully so, well, right there, you just said it would take you all day, right? So they got to fit what they can in 2 hours. But I feel like they could have done that. They could have at least, you know, explained the tail light, gone over the text messages of Higgins and the crash experts. Here's what the prosecution is saying the case is, and here's what the defense is saying. But instead, it was just a whole bunch of like, ooh, the defense is just, you know, gossiping and spreading rumors about people. And it's just like, what? Everybody keeps talking about people wearing cross necklaces. I mean, Massachusetts, Boston is very fucking Catholic, you know. I'm not surprised when I see people who are within the same family essentially wearing crosses on their necks. I mean, that's not uncommon. I'm not see that's where, you know, I have to check myself and go, that's yeah. Is there a conspiracy? Technically, yes, of course, to cover up a murder. But I'm not going to turn this conspiracy into some sort of weird cop murdering murder cult. It's just, it's not, you know what I mean? I'm not going to let my brain go there. I just think that something went wrong and family is protecting each other. It's a tight family and they're protecting each other. That's it. That's what it boils down to. And yeah, wearing crosses I mean, come on, people. Who doesn't wear a cross for show if they wear a cross? You know what I mean? They're wearing a cross for show. Most people. Most people. Stop it. What's up, Mazza Media? It's good to see you, buddy. Look at it. I mean, mediocre chicken parm is right here talking about I put my cross on for church and court. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. I mean, I listen. Yeah, I shot that down immediately. Crosses. They're all wearing crosses. So what? Like, I mean, what is the most common charm worn around someone's neck? To fucking cross. The petty paralegal, thank you so much. Regarding the 2020 show, this might seem like a mirror maze, but why no questions about the homeowners of 34 Fairview not being questions? Good point. I mean, that's the thing. Again, we could take all night going over the things that they could have gone over, but I'm saying you could just stick your hand in that hat, pull out a handful, and then that fits in your in the hand in your sized hand of 2 hours, right? How big is your hand? It's 2 hours big. Stick it into the fucking hat of facts, and there you go. Doesn't even fucking matter. You just 2 hours worth of the million fucking things that we brought up tonight and are gonna bring up, and they could have done that, but they didn't. That's my point. And I think a lot of it just has to do with Turtle Boy. I think that if mainstream media gives Turtle Boy a positive spin, then they risk inspiring people to do Turtle Boy stuff. And it creates competition for them, ultimately. Leah Baker, thank you. 2020 could have shown cousin Renee giving the finger to Alan Jackson. Right. I mean, right. Thank you so much. All right, what's Mazda saying? 2020 was solid, except I hated how they let Turtle Boy and Karen Reed supporters get blasted like that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You just got here, but I'm strongly of the opinion that in a nutshell, what this was to make Karen Reed seem guilty and that she just and that the justice for John O'Keefe is falling short because it's ill-equipped, right? Karen Reed's guilty. She's responsible for the death of John O'Keefe, according to mainstream media, right? So but the narrative is, well, the public is just falling for this big circus show and just following the lights. What's going on over here? Because we're all that stupid, right? And that the prosecution is just ill-equipped. Adam Lally's not as entertaining as Alan Jackson. He's not a good storyteller like Alan Jackson, according to Vinnie Politan, right? So because Alan Jackson's such a good storyteller, and you have Aiden Carney, aka Turtle Boy, the infamous blogger, out there riling up all of the people, then that's it. Karen Reed's guilty, but she has Alan Jackson and Turtle Boy. Alan in the courthouse, Turtle Boy outside of the courthouse, and that's why people think she's innocent. That's what happened tonight on 2020. That's what happened on 2020. That's it. Right, a mindless mob. That was the vibe. 2020 thing tonight. Karen Reed guilty, but in the courtroom, she's got Alan Jackson. That's why she's winning. Outside of the courtroom, she's got Turtle Boy. And that's why the court of public opinion is siding with her. No validation as to why we feel this way. None. We're all just a bunch of blind fucking people who are just like, oh, a guy named Turtle Boy, cool. That's how they're making us out to be. Upergal, keep doing you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, like we're just a bunch of fucking brainless morons, you know, who don't understand that the burden of proof is on the prosecution. Yes, we do understand that. B, that it's the burden of proof is on the prosecution to prove to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that Karen Read killed John O'Keefe. They can't do that. We're capable of looking at the evidence that they claim to have and poking holes through it, realizing that it's not actually evidence. Yeah, I mean, it's just so fucking weak. It's so crazy. It's so crazy that at this point, with all of this new information that has come up, they put out a 2020 episode worthy of maybe a year and a half ago. Like with the information that we have, I mean, they missed out. They could have gotten that shit would have picked up so much traction if they would have went over all of the facts, the things that made us all go, holy shit, wait a minute. This woman might be innocent. If they just went over those things, holy shit, wait a minute, this woman might be innocent. That made us do that. Dude, 2020 would be blowing up right now. 2020 dropped the ball. 2020 shot themselves in the foot by not covering this case properly. Am I doing the slow game for the update? Maybe. I don't know what that means. Yeah, this is the craziest shit. I've never seen anything like this, man. This is the craziest shit in the world. Like, when TMZ to date is the most reliable of mainstream media coverage of this case, that tells me that this is the craziest fucking case I've ever seen. I've never seen I've never covered a case or followed a case that TMZ where I never thought that I would follow a case where I would be like, if you guys want to know who to listen to in regards to this case, TMZ and Turtle Boy. A guy named Turtle Boy. Now, and I'm not minimizing him. I'm saying if you were talking to a fucking stranger who's never heard of Turtle Boy, because I did the same thing. I was like, Turtle Boy. And I was like, Dolly? I was like, what? I thought that they were just trying to remember Dolly's name and they called him Turtle Boy. That's what I thought. And I was like, what? But it's wild. never thought that I would cover a case where I would be telling people that the most reliable information that you're going to get is from a guy named Turtle Boy and fucking TMZ. Crazy. Yeah, no inverted Sally port, no I don't think they showed the tire moving, Karen Reed hitting John's car. Hell, even Court TV talked about that. Right. Butt dials, destroyed phones, inverted videos, missing video. Where's Chloe? Any cross-examination of defense witness? Right. They showed the dog bites and shit, and then they closed it with, well, prosecution, they haven't said exactly, but they're like, you know, from the accident, somehow did he get dragged under the car? Blah, blah, blah. But they, you know, they didn't talk about the fact that Chloe was rehomed and that the house was sold for $50,000 under market value and that the floor was ripped up and replaced. I mean, there's so much shit. This is the craziest fucking case because there's so much fucking shit. Like the people who like who think that Karen Reed is guilty are just the funniest people to me because like when you look at everything about this case at this point, I mean, between the FBI investigation, between the federal investigation and the lack of investigation on the Massachusetts State Police from the Massachusetts State Police, the federal investigation into Michael Morrissey's office, to the federal intervention in the Sandra Birchmore case, to the same police officers that investigated Sandra Birchmore, as well as the Karen Reed and John O'Keefe case. And I'm just that's just the tip of the iceberg. You look at all of that stuff and you know, talk to somebody who still thinks that Karen Reed is guilty. It reminds me of like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar. Remember that shit where he's like, he goes to the fucking to pick up his car from like, I guess the impound or wherever, and he tells the guy in the overalls and shit, he's like, hey man, you scratched my car. And the guy's like, where? And he's like, right there. Like there's this huge scratch. Like, dude, Karen Reed is innocent and she's being railroaded. What? Where do you see that? Dude, right fucking there, dude. What do you mean? What else do I have to point out to you? You know what I mean? Where? What do you mean? What are you talking about? That's what Plevin sounds like. Oh, see, you don't even listen to logic, and I follow the evidence. That's what I do. I follow the evidence. No, you don't. Like you say you're following the evidence, and then you say insane fucking things like headlights aren't fucking designed to be able to see in your peripherals. What? Jeep only makes fucking headlights for people wearing blinders? Is that supposed to be fucking funny, dude? You said that shit on Court TV out loud in front of the world. Yeah, that's not how headlights work. What the fuck do you mean that's not how headlights work? Why do you think headlights work? Where? That's the kind of shit that's going on right now. This is some serious fucking Twilight Zone madness. It really is. There's no excuse why 2020, at this point in the case, with everything that has been made public so far, would paint that picture. There's no logical reason other than fear of losing money in some way, shape, or form. Some type of some way, shape, or form losing money. I couldn't tell you exactly whether it be fear of litigation or fear of certain sponsorship, losing certain sponsorship. I don't know. But I'm telling you right now that the only thing that makes any sense as to why 2020 would report this case the way that they did tonight is out of fear of losing money in some way, shape, or form. Sand and Sea, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dude, it's wild, man. It's just fucking wild. It's just the fucking wildest shit. This is the most Twilight Zone-y Outer Limits fucking shit I've ever seen. You know, these are wild times, man. I never thought that like the craziness of politics, that crazy, because it's not the craziness of politics, it's the craziness that politics contains, the force of crazy that's making the crazy things happen. That's the craziness that I'm referring to, that has seeped into the true crime world. Like the same craziness that puts a reality star in ahead in the polls back in fucking 2019, you know, just before 2020, like a reality star guy who goes, "You're fired." Like that's what I saw. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? That guy, Donald Trump, he's running for president and he might win. Seriously. Like, I was like, the world is going insane. Now, I've gotten to a point, don't get me wrong, I'm not speaking for or against Trump, but I've gotten to a point where I just accept it. It's that crazy. I just accept it, and I'm just like, okay, I can't wait to see what happens next. I can't wait to see where this goes next. Like, right now, I am so invested in the Trump Kamala shit. Like, it's fucking fun. But that's all it is to me. I'm not worried or scared or, you know, like seriously, I am to the point now where I just don't give a fuck and I am simply entertained by it. You know? Because I mean, think about it. I was like, yeah, I was like, dude, wait a minute. Donald Trump, this guy is running for president and he's winning. You know, all you have to do, you just grab him by the pussy. Grab him by the pussy. Yeah, what? Dude, that would have destroyed anybody. But the fact that that guy came out winning after that made me go, oh shit, what's next? What's happening next? This is amazing. This is amazing. Because I don't care what you think of me. A lot of people are going to think, Jesus Christ, Glare, you're an asshole. You don't have an opinion on this? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But I'm telling you right now, at this point, I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. I am just here to watch. That's it. That's where I'm at. I can't wait for this debate. Dude, the fucking Kamala Trump debate that's coming up on Tuesday, I can't fucking wait for it. And you know what's funny is I don't give a fuck who comes out on top. In the debate. In the debate. I don't give a fuck. I am solely watching it. Again, and I don't give a fuck what you think about me after I say this either. I am solely watching it for the sheer entertainment of it. Why else would I watch those two debate. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking circus, dude. It's a shit show. Anybody my age knows this. Anybody my age or older knows this. You remember the Reagan days. You remember the Bush days. You remember the Clinton days. You know what I mean? This is a fucking madhouse that we're living in right now. And now, in true crime, this is the fucking madhouse that I'm living in. A fucking house of fucking a fun house of mirrors and shit. It's insane. There is blatant corruption taking place in Norfolk County. Blatant. And everyone's afraid to talk about it. Even on a national level, everyone's afraid to talk about it. It's not like it's like, oh, I wonder if there's corruption going on. No, dude. Like, it's in your fucking face. It has, I mean, there's more reason to think that Michael Morrissey is corrupt than there is reason to think that Karen Read could have hit John O'Keefe with her SUV. There's way more reason. Dude, we're totally in the upside down. We're totally in the upside down. This is fucking, yeah. This is, I'm telling you, dude, if I were a religious guy, I would totally say these are the sign of the times. Absolutely would. This is totally fucking Dr. Venkman in the mayor's office and Ghostbusters. Fucking dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. God damn, bro. I just fucking, dude, I put a little, all I did was just crack the window a little bit, bro. And then Scott McGinnis just fucking dove in full on politics, bro. Like, I love you, Scott McGinnis. Scott McGinnis was just like, oh, let me in there. He was totally like a fucking monster and I Am Legend. Like, I didn't fucking seal the door with steel and shit. And I just left a little crack and Scott McGinnis came in there. Hey, I love it, dude. Scott McGinnis. The army of truth seekers took landfall in April and went on and on and on. I love it. No, man. Dude, listen, y'all can anything, whatever your beliefs are, man, you can talk about that shit in here. Just know, just know that you're subject to criticism from anybody. You know, we're all accountable for our words here, man. So, you know. Yeah, no, we're adults here. We can talk about politics if it naturally goes that direction, but it's a little late. I'd rather not. I brought it up. It's my fault. But I was just making the point. I mean, the fact that this is where we are in politics is crazy. You have to admit that. You cannot deny that this is the strangest fucking thing that's ever happened in politics. If you're old enough to remember what politics were like when we were growing up. That's all I'm saying. But this now, like the way the media is too, is fucking wild, man. It's wild that there is so much information on the John O'Keefe Karen Read case that isn't being talked about, that is vital in understanding the true nature of this case. It's vital. I mean, it's just so funny to me, dude. Oh man, this is a late one, man. There's like people live that I'm just like, Jesus, dude. I haven't fucking even thought about you in forever. Let's watch this real quick. Just to fill up a little time, and then I'll open the phone lines.
The contents of a cell phone assigned to the state trooper investigating Karen Reed could end up being a bombshell in other cases. Today, the Norfolk DA announced it's received the phone data and could now affect 2 other high-profile cases. WBZ's Brandon Truitt joins us live in studio tonight with the new court filings and what it means. Brandon?
Well, Courtney, Trooper Michael Proctor is currently suspended without pay pending an internal affairs investigation into his conduct. Now, as a result of that, state police went through Proctor's work phone and turned over what they found to the Norfolk District Attorney.
It's a whack job. See you. Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. Said the Alberts beat the shit out of O'Keefe, left him for dead, and that's why her taillight was cracked. She's gross.
It was that June 10th court appearance where Trooper Michael Proctor read his own text messages, the vulgar, disparaging texts to other troopers and friends about Karen Reed.
The rest of the unprofessional and regrettable comments are something I'm not proud of, and I shouldn't have wrote in a private or any type of setting.
Those messages resulted in Proctor's suspension from the force and started an internal affairs investigation that led to an extraction of messages from his work phone. In their court filings Friday, prosecutors say after an initial review, Proctor's phone is expected to have information about open investigations, surveillance video from unrelated investigations, and more. Prosecutors ultimately filed court paperwork in 3 high-profile murder cases: Karen Reed's, Brian Walsh's, and Ingolf Turk's. Prosecutors know they will have to hand over information from Proctor's phone in those 2 cases, but worry releasing all of its data could jeopardize other open cases, which in their words would be contrary to the interests of justice.
So I spoke with attorney Kevin Reddington over the phone. He represents Ingolf Turk. Now, Reddington tells me that he has filed to get a hold of more than 3,000 pages of exculpatory evidence. That's evidence that could benefit his client. It's still unclear what, if anything, is on that phone and how it could ultimately impact these cases. Courtney.
WBZ's Brandon Truitt joining us live in studio. Brandon, thank you.
Dude, Proctor, man, they did this to themselves. Like, fuck your cell phone. I mean, yeah, it's gonna suck if Brian Walsh walks free. Like, I know that dude's fucking guilty. You know? Somebody said something about my shirt earlier. Dude, I have an addiction to like buying t-shirts. Like, it's fucking bad. Like, it's getting to a point where I'm just like, I don't have room to put these. And like I like I had to buy this. Like, dude, poor Pee Wee, man. You know, rest in peace. God rest his soul. Like, he got arrested for indecent exposure, for jerking off in public. But here's the thing. He was in a fucking porno theater. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, okay. You know, yeah, do that shit at home. Sure. I get it. Sure, of course. But he's in a porno theater, though. You know what I mean? Like, you can't let him off with a warning, just like, hey, zip it up, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, he's in a porno theater, bro. I'm supposed to go to McDonald's and just look at a Big Mac. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, you know, Pee Wee was wrongfully incarcerated, in my opinion. Think what you will. second. All right. Let me do this. All right. Y'all can call in if you want. Hang out for a little while longer. Yeah, man. Dude, how much joy Pee Wee Herman brought to the world, bro. Oh, what's up, Olivia Nile? Reddington is trying to get the 3,000 pages of TUI docs from the feds in the Karen Reed case. Good luck, Reddington, when you represent Jen McCabe. Okay. Yikes. Yeah, I'm taking calls.
Call from good
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
citizen.
What's up, good citizen?
How are you, love?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to hear from you.
It's good to hear from you. How is everything going? And I'm glad you're. It's Will. Look at the TV, you stupid silly.
What's going on? What's on your mind?
I'm having fun with my friend Hill.
Okay. What are you guys up to?
We're just recovering from the 2020.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What'd you think?
Do you really need to know?
Well, I'm just curious what your thoughts are. That's why I opened up the phone lines. Good
Right?
citizen.
Well, I saw your number, but I was like crazy, like, oh.
So what'd you think? Hello? Hello? Oh, looks like we lost her. Okay. No. Good citizen is not a troll. But I do think good citizen had a couple drinks tonight. Which I would expect would happen. I mean, it is Friday night, so if there are drinkers out there, they're drinking. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. You guys party on. 100%. Enjoy yourselves.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Ashley from Quincy.
Ashley from Quincy. Right on. What's up?
So I live right around the corner from Michael Morrissey.
Oh. Okay. You can turn me
I
down
live
in the back.
right around the corner from Michael Morrissey, and he's been here for ages.
Okay, I think you're distracted by me on the TV. You got to turn that
Many
down.
people on this peninsula have been here for ages.
Okay, so that you're not distracted by your own echo, turn down whatever you're watching me on. Okay, she hung up. She'd rather hang up. Okay, cool. Thank you, Ashley, for giving us your neighbor report. Appreciate that. Would anybody else Anybody live around the corner from Michael Proctor or Tully or Kaki and then want to just hang up? Phone lines are open. Totally do that. I feel like everyone's drunk, Danielle. I think that's what it is. I think I've opened up the phone lines to drunk dialing. Watch everybody. Everybody's giving this woman shit because of her name, because her name's Ashley. I've known a fucking million Ashleys. Oh, thoughts. Oh, I talked about that earlier, Olivia. Oh, yeah. I actually went on a rant about it, about her. Anything I say now is not going to even compare.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, this is Leah from Texas.
What's up, Leah from Texas?
I just wanted to say my alias is Sandon C.
Oh, you're Sandon C. Right on.
Yes, and I'm glad I didn't waste my Friday night watching the 2020 documentary, as it sounds absolutely abysmal.
I mean, it really was. But I gotta say, I wouldn't say that I just to be clear, I wouldn't say that I wasted 2 hours doing it, because I got to like hang out with members in the Discord, and that was cool. Like the experience of watching it, like the way we did it, like I look forward to doing something like that again. So that was actually really cool.
Well, that is cool, and now you're live and you're getting to interact with more people.
I am.
I think that's great.
Me too.
So I just wanted to say how much I enjoy your show. I love your little doggy, and I'll let someone else get on the line.
Well, thank
Hope
you
you
so
have a
much.
good evening.
All right, Leah, thanks for calling. And thank you for
Okay,
all your
bye.
support too. You're amazing.
Oh, no problem. You're my favorite show.
Oh, right on. Right on. Thank you.
Okay, bye now.
All right, bye-bye, Leah.
Call from.
Hillary.
Hillary.
What?
What's up? You're on. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Will.
Hey, Hillary.
What?
Oh, I just wanted to call and chit chat. What you doing?
Just wanted to say hi.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
What's going on?
Oh, you know. Did you have any thoughts on today, on tonight? Yeah, I didn't think so. Jesus Christ, this is like the worst open phone line night ever. But the best at the same time, because I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Anybody. Doesn't matter how drunk you are. Call up.
Call from.
You're up.
Hey, Will. This is Kenneth calling from Ludlow, Massachusetts.
Kenneth from Ludlow, Massachusetts. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, first time caller here.
Right on.
Yeah, many, real quick. I mean, where to begin? Many problems with 2020, the whole shit show tonight.
Agreed.
But, I mean, in the top three, somewhere in the top three was twice, not once, twice. They played the clip of Auntie Bev chastising Karen with, "You find this funny, Miss Reed?"
You find this funny, Miss Reed?
And 2020 didn't speak to the fact that this was all taken out of context, because the jury instructions were not clear, if not
Right.
unlawful. And lo and behold, like short time after that, Auntie Bev came back and actually switched the jury instructions after she obviously consulted with another judge or a higher judge or who, God knows who. So have Karen chuckle over that circus.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we all of us who watched the trial know exactly why Karen Reed chuckled, was because she's sitting there amazed. The same reason why she said we're all in on the same joke, right? Is because it's a fucking sham and she can't fucking believe it. You know, like, I mean, if I'm sitting here going, this is some Twilight Zone shit, imagine what she's feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But just to wrap it up, the Brian and Brian, that's the testimony to the fact of butt dials with each other. I mean, do people is there a segment of the population who listened to that and thought about it actually believe that to be true?
Yeah.
Because
they're called Plevin and Plevin listeners. Yeah.
Because the probability statistically of that actually occurring is, I can't even say the word, it's infinitesimal.
Kenneth is the anti-Plevin, I swear. He's bizarre.
It's like in another universe it might be there.
Kenneth is bizarro Plevin. This is fucking great.
It's like 99.99999 to infinity that did not happen the way they said. They freaking called each other. Come on, people, wake up.
Of course they do.
I mean,
love it.
but you know, I actually I went on ABC.com. I went to their feedback page, or you can send them a quick form. It's a real quick form to fill out with your comments on anything regarding ABC, and I let them have it.
You Karen ABC?
I Karen ABC. Yeah, I said, you freaking
Do you have a draft
moron.
of it? Do you have a draft of it? Can you read it?
You know, I didn't save a copy of it,
Okay.
and once I sent it, I didn't have it. But
all right, no, I
you know, I called them morons.
Give us
you know,
the clip notes.
You know, the most biased hit job I've ever seen. I said, why don't you just take the time to Google butt dials in this case, and why don't you do a story on that? Because never mind everything else, that alone, you got two freaking supposedly seasoned police officers actually testifying under oath to that fact is utterly ridiculous.
It's
utterly ridiculous. You know,
agree.
I'm not an attorney. I mean, I've got respect for the legal defense team, but
what do you do? What do you do? If you don't mind me asking, what do you do?
I'm a retired banker.
Okay. So,
but
the opposite of a bartender. Fuck, you are the bizarro Plevin, dude. It's fucking amazing. I love it.
Yeah. If Auntie Bev was, if I was doing the closing arguments and Bev gave me an hour to make my closing arguments. You know, I'm not an attorney, and you know, I'm not criticizing the defense. You know, they're A plus plus. But if it was me, I would just take 60 minutes to just repeat that fact and look the jurors in the eyes to say, think about this. Never mind Jen McCabe calling his phone from the house 6 or 7 times. And she even testified that there were butt dials from her back pocket.
She did.
Okay.
She did.
Okay. She did. She did. Obviously, she was looking for his phone in the house that was dropped somewhere because due to whatever happened in the house.
Yeah, she had
But
that back.
she-
She had that back pocket story ready. Like she had it. You said you did you catch that? She had that shit like in the holster ready to go before it was necessary to even come up. It was. I was like, oh, you see what she did right there?
Yeah. So you know the quote Auntie Bev. You know the door's been opened on butt dials. So these 2 other fat buffoons actually get up there and try to make us sincerely believe that at whatever 2:30 in the morning or whatever, I butt dialed him, and then a minute later he butt dialed me back, and the call went on for 20 seconds, but you know nothing was said, and that was it. And then you know that's what happens when 2 fat guys are in bed and at 2:30 in the morning, and lo and behold, there's a murder on my front lawn found the next morning. You know, I mean, it's just beyond. I would spend an hour just looking the jury straight in the face, saying, "Come on, people, this is black and white."
Well, that's why we're not lawyers.
This
Because
isn't black and white.
I said the same thing, Kenneth. I said the same thing. I was like, dude, like, I that's why I'm not a lawyer. Like, I couldn't because you can't do that. What you're talking about doing, like, that's not good lawyering. But I wouldn't be able to resist doing it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to be like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Look at this.
Yeah.
Dude, she's fucking lying. Look at her. She's fucking lying. Look at her. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to resist doing that. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
I hardly like refrained, dude. When fucking what was it? Bukkake was on the fucking stand. I was in the courtroom, and there were shit. I was just like, oh, you know, like I was rubbing my face like this, like, dude. And I was sitting there like, oh, like, dude, like looking at Lally, like, are you fucking kidding me right now, dude? You know, like it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, and I mean. And you know, I'll never forget. I mean, it'll play in history when Brian Albert's wife, I forget her name,
Nicole Albert.
Nicole, when she's on the stand and she says, "Yeah, his officer." Bukkake?
Oh, that was Julie Albert. Yeah, that was Julie Albert.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Was it Julie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bukkake.
That was a moment I'll never ever forget. Like I couldn't believe it.
Just you couldn't.
I don't know how Turtle Boy, because Turtle Boy was in the courtroom when she said it.
Yeah.
I don't know how he didn't go like just bust out laughing. I don't know how he didn't do that. Like it was amazing that he didn't do that. Because I was like, I fucking, everyone shared my reaction. I was like, oh my God. I was so loud about it. Like I wouldn't have, that's probably how I would have reacted in the courtroom to some degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have read the room to some degree, but I don't know if I would have been able to refrain from busting out laughing. I would have had to at least laugh.
Yeah. And then the gall of 2020 to show the freaking taillight missing completely, like 5 or 6 times during that program tonight.
Right.
When it's testimony by the other town's officer that I was there. I didn't see that daylight like that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Right. No,
The
they
board was
didn't. Yeah,
proud.
they did nothing. Like they did nothing to actually share credible exculpatory shit that makes us all go, Karen Reed is innocent. They didn't do anything. Like I completely agree with you. Like the narrative in a nutshell was Karen Reed is guilty, and the reason why she has support or the reason why she's not winning in the courtroom or she's not losing in the courtroom is because Adam Lally is inadequate and Alan Jackson is a great storyteller, and outside of the courtroom in the court of public opinion she has Turtle Boy, and he's brainwashed all of us crazy rabid people is the narrative, which is just completely untrue. You know, it was absolutely and totally a failure of delivery of information.
I mean, if I was in Oklahoma and I knew nothing about this and watched this program tonight for the first time and getting all this information, and you see all the pink shirts and the Karen Reed supporters, you know, a dozen times out in front of the courthouse during this program, I mean, it begs the question. I mean, these people seem adamant in their.
Right. There's a lot of people out here
in their beliefs.
I'm listening.
So
right. I would have been like, I'm okay. What's going on here? And I would have been totally open-minded, because that's what I did. Actually, I was like, wait a minute. I saw footage of the courthouse and people crowded out there, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, a lot of people think she's innocent. I want to know why. Why do they think she's innocent?
Exactly. They didn't answer that question at all. I mean,
no, they didn't explore anything tangible. No. And there's tons of it.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. Hey, just one last question. Because I haven't heard any of this, or maybe I missed it, but the state police officer Fanning, is it true, or has it been confirmed that when the jury was outside of the courtroom that he was kind of in charge of them?
I've heard Turtle Boy report this. Here's my opinion on that. I don't know, other than Turtle Boy's reporting on it, if that's true.
Okay.
But considering all of the other crazy shit that I've seen happen in this case, and considering the fact that Turtle Boy has been accurate on just about everything that I can think of in regards to this case, I believe it, but you know what I mean? I don't really invest it because I don't have anything like solid. There's not a court document that tells me that, unless there is, and I missed it. But if there is, then I'd love to know. But at the same time, I mean, it's not hard to believe. I wouldn't be shocked by it, because everything in this case shocks me. So I wouldn't be any more shocked by that than anything else that I've seen in this case at this point. But since he is a Massachusetts state trooper, and if a Massachusetts state trooper was in charge of handling the jury, then I wouldn't doubt that they would put Fanning on that, which is clearly a conflict of interest.
Yeah, because I don't know if it was reported, but the speculation on that is that he's the one that's informed the judge that, oh, there's one juror that's kind of, breaking the rules back there. So, you should consider dismissing her, which happened the morning of the jury's final selection to go deliberate. and the woman, and of course, it's the person that, from what I watched and understood and listened to people and listening to you and and everybody, that if there was one person on that jury that you could definitely say she was going to acquit, it was this person.
Yeah. I know the
You know,
juror.
and,
I know
well,
the juror that
I'll-
Turtle Boy was referring to about that, and I can confirm that because I was in the courtroom for a couple of pretty significant events that you would see a reaction from the jury if the jury was going to react, and I saw the jury react, and this particular juror absolutely reacted to certain things such as John's tire moving from Karen backing into it in that footage. There's that.
Yeah.
And then there was the inverted video. I got to witness the jury's reaction to that. And the jury, juror number 3, was definitely very, I mean, juror number 3 would have never convicted Karen Read of any of those counts. I don't believe that for a second. She was too doubtful.
Yeah. I mean, even without knowing who she was or seeing her or myself or whatever, I just, again, being a numbers person, would say that the probability, having listened to the whole trial but not seeing the jurors, the probability of having at least one juror thinking there's no way. I'm not guilty of it.
I can tell you,
One
people can confirm this, but within, I mean, an hour of being in that courtroom and seeing that jury, I was already telling people there's no way that jury is going to unanimously convict Karen Read on any of those counts. It's just not going to happen. Like, there's no way. There was more than one juror visibly doubtful of her guilt very early on as to my witnessing of them. So I could tell you that there was no way that they would have ever unanimously convicted. And this was before the ARCA thing. This was before that, way before that.
Yeah.
It was early on.
Yeah. Oh man, this is just, So hopefully I mean, I'm certainly hopeful that the appeal of they did appeal the jury messages to the lawyers. Am I correct? To the Supreme Court or a higher court? Did they appeal?
I don't know
I
don't know if they've done it yet, but I feel like they plan to. But as of now, there's still a trial date set in January.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, if it does get filed, hopefully a few higher ups can take action on it. And hopefully they can. We got a big problem here. We got a huge problem. I mean, you got people. You got. I mean, at the very least, this needs to be looked into further. Whether it be bringing people in.
Well, that's the whole point of talking about it and spreading awareness.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean,
so Kenneth, I'm gonna take the next caller. All right, Kenneth.
Thanks a lot, Will. All right, man. You're the best.
But hey, thank you.
Soon,
I really appreciate you calling, though. I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for calling, buddy.
All right, it's been fun.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Bye bye. Oh, the other caller hung up. Yeah, that's interesting, Olivia Nile. I'm curious as to why that is too. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I just curious as to what your thoughts are.
Call from
Joshua.
You're on, Joshua.
That really well.
What's up, buddy? How we doing?
I'm doing all right. The 2020 sucks. This was all one-sided.
Let me guess. You're from the Boston area?
Fucking right.
What part of town you in, buddy?
I'm in Boston.
All right, you're in Boston, Boston. Okay,
Yep.
right on.
And Aunt Bev, I wouldn't let her judge a fucking cheerleading competition. You know, she's one-sided too. I think she's corrupt as fuck.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that Bev is fucking corrupt. Absolutely. I mean,
That whole
it's not unfair at this point to feel that way. You know?
no, it's not. And I do have respect for the law. to a
Right.
certain point. And
It took a lot for me to get to the point to where I'm just like, yeah, she's fucking corrupt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Me too. Because I didn't want to believe it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You don't want
No,
to.
you
Yeah. Like that's the whole thing is like we're not a bunch of anti-law people here. You know, we just want it done ethically. We want people's rights protected. That's all.
And I don't think she has any ethics at all, to tell you the truth.
She's definitely not acting in the interest of justice.
No, she's not.
Right.
And what about the officers that come in from Dayton?
Say that again.
Bring that up. The officers that come in from Dayton at the courthouse.
Which one?
That's the officer from Dayton.
What officer from Dayton in regards to what? What am I missing? I'm missing something here.
In the trial, the one that said that he saw just a crack tail.
Oh, yeah. The only honest one, the only honest cop that testified.
Yeah. 2020.
Yeah. I mean, he was adamant about the fact that it was just cracked and not broken.
Exactly. You know, and no mention of Lucky.
Right. Yeah. No mention of Lucky Loughran. Like, right. They didn't just like leave a couple of things out. They left everything out. That was my gripe is they left everything out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Sandra Birchmore, who's that? Clevin the other night there on the cottage cheese friggin' show there, trying to make it look like saying that she was seducing that officer.
Oh yeah, he's a victim blaming douche.
He's bad. He's just bad. He needs to shell those. You know, he needs a curb stomp that asshole.
Right.
You know, I can't stand him. They need to get it together. Since, we're out there doing our thing. Why isn't our governor out there saying, hey, not post it off?
Yeah, she said a whole lot of nothing today, didn't she?
She says a whole lot of nothing every day.
That's what politicians usually do.
Yeah, exactly. And they need to start some paperwork. Look at these people. I don't know if they have it on computer.
Right. I mean, she did take one course of action, which was replace the colonel in the Massachusetts State Police. All right, great. But it sure feels like you're just throwing us a bone. You know, like that's what that feels like. It feels patronizing. It doesn't feel like you're taking action. It feels like you're just trying to get us to shut the fuck up about you not taking action. You know what I mean? Like, so you're going to have to do a little better than that. People need to be held accountable for what they've done. Like you've got a crisis. Like right now, the governor of Massachusetts has a crisis on her hands. And that crisis is exactly what was talked about today, which is Michael Proctor's other cases. You have Michael Proctor working for the Massachusetts State Police, and he's under investigation, internal affairs investigation. His credibility is already fucked. All these other cases, their defense attorneys they already have enough to fuck up his credibility. maybe not enough to defend their client to a point to where it's enough to fail at prosecuting. They might have enough overwhelming evidence to prosecute them and convict them, but at the same time, the credibility of Michael Proctor in those cases is already up for questioning. It's up for question. So that's a problem. That's a real problem. And it's nobody's fault. It's not Karen Reed's defense's fault. It's Michael Proctor's fault.
That's correct. And how many cases are maybe going to get recalled?
Right.
These people have look. Even if they're not.
Think about that. Right. That's another one. How many cases was Michael Proctor in charge of that got convictions, and those are going to get retried now? How many of those are going to happen? How many criminals are going to walk the street now because Michael Proctor can't fucking act like a professional?
Correct. I mean, and what he said about her disability, that's wrong. Man.
Yeah, I mean,
my mother did that, said something like that,
Yeah, that's just beyond disrespectful to all women, But at the same time, I mean, again, I hate that happened, but I feel like the focus should be how he conducted the investigation. There's too much deception coming from the Massachusetts State Police, and they're not being called out on it.
That's right. No, they're not being called on only by us.
Yeah, Cherry is bringing that up. Cherry, could you possibly find that press conference? Because I want to go over that. I've been wanting to go over. It keeps slipping my mind, but I've been wanting to go over that press conference again. I went over it months ago, yeah. Just Joe, thank you. Got an accident with dog cop. Within seconds, every cop in the city there. Road closed for 12 hours. No way a dead cop has abandoned the scene. What? How would a dead cop abandon the scene? What?
I don't understand that either.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but thank you, Just Joe.
And I know a lot of people are putting the emphasis on people I've heard say, well, there was a cop, how come,
No, I'm sorry. 1 second, buddy. No, Cherry, not right now. I mean, if you have it handy, then great. But if you don't have it, then, if you just happen to know, if you can find it, then, take your time. I don't need it right now, but if you have it handy, it's even better. Sorry, man, go ahead.
In between the butt dials between, Albert and Higgy, what was Higgy doing listening? Was he calling up Herman listening? Because he supposedly was making love to his wife, right?
Yeah, Higgy was by himself, big shocker there. And yeah, Brian Albert was supposedly in mid coitus with Nicole.
Yeah, during the 22 seconds, right?
Right.
He was calling the Pee Wee Herman on the cell phone.
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, this case is so insane that the most wildest fucking scenarios come to mind that I know are ridiculous. Like just Brian Albert, just banging away. And it's like, what's up, Higgy? I'm a little busy right now. I don't know. It's good to hear your voice, though. It's good to hear your voice. Yeah, you're a good kisser. Like I picture that happening. I don't know why.
Fucking asshole. Well, I'll let you get to another call. I have people beeping in.
All right. Thanks for calling, buddy. I appreciate you.
Take care, bud.
All right. Bye-bye. Let's get another caller.
Call from.
Trying to just banging away.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, baby? little busy right now.
Hey, buddy. Is this Will?
It is. You
Hey,
might want
it's Brian Haley. I don't care about saying my last name. I'm from Weymouth. I
All
got
right.
a question for you. Can I switch gears real quick? What's
Switch-
the connection with you and Bernie Federko?
Oh, he was a St. Louis Blues player.
Correct.
I used to
So
go-
was John. I'm not interrupt you. So was John Casey, who came to Boston, the goalie.
Okay. Now
Yep.
I don't ask me hockey trivia, man, because I'm not going to know. It was I used to go to the games as a kid with
Oh wow.
with my big brother from the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and we reconnected after like 30 years or so or something like that, and he sent me that signed jersey.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know what that's all about. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like Turtle Boy, like everybody else. I get graduated in. I came to your channel about 9 months ago, and I'm like, this is interesting. This guy seems like a good shit. I'm like, why is he get a Federico thing? So I hung on. I'm like, this guy's a hot shit. You're a good guy, man. I'm on your Twitter. I got one kind of question though. I'm free Karen Reed, man, but the scene in the bar with Higgins, you know how he's just one question, not being negative. Why does people think that he's saying, hey, you know, we're going to kick your ass, come up here? How many times have we left bar rooms at last call going, are you going up there for another one?
That's true.
Defending him.
It may not be aggressive. You're right.
Right.
It's possible.
You're
that-
always fair, dude.
You're right. He may not be being aggressive. The problem is my issue
right.
is why didn't the jury see it? Why did the defense use that?
Exactly. Why did
You
they
know?
not show the third period or the overtime? What was up with that? There was something they didn't like.
Right.
Maybe my point would have come up. Maybe Lally would have got off his ass and said, no, you're going up for one more, and then he only drinks fucking whiskey?
Right. It's
He
suspicious
whiskey
that they
and goes and moves cars.
It's
What is
suspicious.
wrong with these fucking people?
Agreed. And it's suspicious that they avoided the whole thing. Like
Right.
it's I feel like the defense dropped the ball on it possibly. I say that very carefully because I'm not a lawyer. I don't, I hate criticizing lawyers because that's their profession, not mine. But as a layman, I feel like they might have dropped the ball, but the prosecution, they seem to deliberately avoid it. Questions were asked. Was there any aggression? Was there?
Exactly.
Did you invite John O'Keefe from the bar to? Did you wave your hand? There's footage here. We see you waving your hand. Blah blah blah.
Well, I don't know too much about
Why didn't
the
they?
Braintree's the next town over. I live in Weymouth. Somebody told me that they went to the funeral and they overheard something about the guy that owned the house that never woke up, that slept for 3 days, and the dog's nowhere to be found. He was under sexual, I don't know, some type of accusation. That's what I heard. Did you hear that too?
No.
Okay. Well, somebody did say that. And it's awful coincidence why, like you said, a first responder, it's like I played hockey all my life. It's like, yeah, I'll go play. If I feel good, I'll go play. Never comes out of the house he wanted no part of. They lit that fucking street up like Fenway Park will.
What are you munching? What are you munching on right now, Brian?
Oh, you're the man. I had nothing to eat late, so I had some meatloaf in the freezer, defrosted it, and I go, oh, I'll call about 18 times. Maybe I'll get through to Will. I finally did.
Eat up, man.
I
Right
was
on.
leaving messages. You know how it says, say who you are? I go, Michael Proctor's hockey bag.
Michael Proctor's hockey bag. I love it.
We gotta get together.
Right on. Like, yeah, I'm coming back to the Boston area at some point. I just don't have it planned solid just yet. I've got another trip, and however that works out, then
Are you
I'll be
a hockey
around
fan?
that.
Like we go to a Bruins St. Louis
I
game?
would
and
I would
TD Garden, you
totally
love it?
go to a Bruins St. Louis game. Now, don't expect me to know who the players are. What the fuck? I mean, I understand
Yeah.
hockey. I like it, but I don't follow it. So, but I would
Weymouth's got a
totally.
big background. I played hockey. Timmy Sweeney
I
played.
would totally
Charlie
go
Boyle
to a
played for the
Bruins
Bruins
fucking Blues
from
game
Weymouth.
and be the
But you know what,
only
man? You're
asshole
doing
there wearing a Blues
job, and
jersey. I'd be
I like
happy
how
to do it.
Sometimes these other people will carry like someone on, but you just do your own thing. And the other day, seeing that broken tail light on that Canton cop car, the rear right side was like, you put us there perfect. No, not a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences when it comes to this case at all, ever anymore. Nothing is a
Exactly.
coincidence in this case.
I've never been arrested. I have a lot of respect for the Wayne police. They don't have any drama like that, Will. With Canton's a few towns over. I don't know what the hell's going on over there in Canton. I played hockey with Steve Rooney years ago, whatever. He played for the Montreal Canadiens. I don't know what goes on over there in Canton, but it's definitely police involved, and everybody knows about it. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I mean, it's
hey, man, I'll let you go.
it's crazy. It's wild.
Thank God for taking my call, man. I was going to try to call the NHL network if I didn't get through to you.
Well, right on. I appreciate you calling, Brian. Seriously, man.
Yep.
And enjoy that
Yeah,
meatloaf,
you got
buddy.
it, man. I might put Meatloaf on for the tunes. You never know. You're a good
Right.
man. Great job, buddy.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Right, buddy. Thank
Bye.
you.
Call from
Paula Rubin.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, it's Laura.
Hi, Laura.
I talked to you before. I called you about the big anxiety attack that I had, but that's not why I'm calling.
Okay, cool.
I love Paul Rubens, by the way. I love your T-shirt.
Me too. Yeah, thanks.
I live in Arizona, and the 2020 special just ended. So I have to admit to you that I haven't heard your show up until now. I just joined the live. And all I could do after the whole thing was just cry my eyes out, because after all the hard work that everybody has put together, including yourself, to prove so many facts about how Karen Read is innocent, that none of it was mentioned, and all they did was talk about the passion of her defense team and the theories of the defense team. And that's it. They didn't say anything factual that has been proven.
Well, first of all, don't cry for me, Arizona. No, I mean, I don't. I mean, I mean, it's annoying, but it's no reason to like let yourself get really upset over it. Like, I mean, at this point, you know, are you really surprised?
You just
know what I
spent
mean?
so much energy talking about so much stuff that's not factual, and they spent none of the time talking about all the hundreds of facts that yourself and Turtle Boy, and I can't even think right now. I'm so emotional, but so many streamers on YouTube, so many journalists, so Microdots and Flipperhead and everybody else. They have proven beyond a reasonable doubt to the actual jury how she's innocent, and they didn't mention any of it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, they didn't. Like I said, I mean, in my rant earlier, you know, I mean, yeah, I can't fault you for being fired up right now, because again, you're like you're 3 hours behind everybody on the East Coast here, so in the Eastern time zone. So you're as fired up as we were 3 hours ago.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
And
you're
then I
good.
see
You're
Paul
good.
Rubens.
Like I was just as fired up as you were, pretty much.
I see Paul Rubens, and I think of Al Franken, and then I think of Tubin and everybody else. Like, everybody has these cringy, embarrassing moments in their life. Why do you have to cancel people and ruin their entire lives over nothing?
Right.
You know, Paul Rubens decided his parents are asleep. I'm gonna go check something out. I'm gonna creep back home.
No,
He didn't
Olivia
bother
Nile,
anybody.
they didn't. Yeah, I see. Olivia Nile didn't even watch it. Like that's the point. Olivia Nile, they didn't mention anything like that. It's you might as well have watched this, like I said, a year and a half ago. Like all of the stuff, like you would think that them doing a story on this now, considering everything that's come to light, anything that has come to light in the last 6 months, that could be considered exculpatory to Karen Read was not even brought
It's in
up.
a vacuum.
Yeah, it wasn't even brought up. It's insane. They didn't talk about the ARCA experts. They didn't talk about the federal
Nothing.
investigation.
Brian Albert. They never once. All they said was, I don't know. They didn't say anything about he didn't come out of the house, his dog, all the sussy crap afterwards. Nothing.
Right.
just, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was just, it was it's fucking.
And then all those people that they were interviewing, I'm like, who the F are these people anyway? Never even heard of any of them. And I thought I knew everything about it. I'm like, who is this lady who's like, oh, John's soulmate that no one's even heard of?
Yeah. Yeah. No, the fuck that
Stupid.
lady
I'm
was.
sorry, I'm in Arizona. And
No,
I'm
I
like,
mean,
I'm
we
in
all thought the
California
same
right
thing.
now.
The fucking,
Oh my God.
the redhead lady, nobody gives a fuck about, dude.
I
Like,
was like, what if this was me or my sister or my daughter? Jesus Christ.
I give
How
such
can-
so little of a fuck about that lady is that I give so much of a shit about not giving a shit about that lady. I've never felt that way about anybody in my
Oh my
life.
God.
Like,
I saw that
that lady
picture
is
of her
annoyingly
with the-
insignificant. She's
I saw that
irritatingly
picture.
insignificant.
Right, a picture of her cuddling this picture frame of
That's
John
all it was,
O'Keefe's
Olivia.
picture,
That's
like
all it
her
was.
soulmate is gone.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of bullshit. It's what it was. It was just a big pile of bullshit. It was really ridiculous.
Okay, you are 1,000 times the journalist that all the journalists they put on that
no,
show
I'm not a
are
journalist at all.
combined. I'm sorry. You speak the truth. You talk the truth. There's people that follow
I
you
run
and
my
love you
mouth
for
because
that
I'm
reason.
opinionated. That's not journalism.
Well, they could speak the truth without an opinion.
Yeah.
They just ignored it. They just
Oh.
ignored it. And they made all the Karen Reed supporters sound like they were part of a cult and they were all brainwashed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Again, summary of what happened tonight. Karen Reed guilty. Courtroom is because the reason why she wasn't found guilty in the courtroom was because Adam Lally was inadequate and Alan Jackson was a showman of a lawyer. And outside of the courtroom, in the court of public opinion, it's because Turtle Boy brainwashed a bunch of stupid people
All right.
wearing and got
I'm
them to
sorry
wear
I
pink.
brought up the obvious to everybody that's
That's
3 hours
that's
ahead.
what happened.
I figured you'd appreciate a fresh perspective.
No, I did.
actually
We all
started-
do.
I started it a half an hour late because I wanted to skip the commercials because it was on at 8 here. So I'm like, oh, I'll start at 8:30. By 10:30, I was like, if I didn't love my TV as much as I did, I'd throw my shoe at it. I'm so mad.
Right. Yeah.
And every commercial break, I'm like, they
it's
better do
pretty
it now. They better
frustrating.
do it now.
It's pretty frustrating because they had an opportunity to really educate a lot of people and they just failed.
And listen, from way back, like 30 years ago, I still have a little miniature cherry, the little chair, not your Cherry, your friend, but there was a chair from Pee Wee Herman that used to talk. He made this little tiny lazy boy for like 3-year-olds, and the mouth would open up and the kids would sit on it and giggle.
Yeah.
Well, we bought one for my friend's son, and we still keep that thing in plastic so it doesn't get Arizona dust. We'd have like an original cherry.
Right on.
So, but I really appreciate you, and I had to vent because there's nobody here to listen to me. I'm just mad.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Thanks for calling.
Here you get the perspective from 3 hours behind.
Right on.
Have a wonderful night. I'll keep on listening. I'll go back to the beginning and listen to everybody else that's pissed.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Have a good one.
You
Bye.
too. Good night. All right. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go over one more thing. Cherry has, first of all, guys, you guys got to give Cherry a big round of applause because she has worked her ass off tonight. Thank you, Cherry, for everything you've done. So now Cherry managed to find this press conference. I'm going to go over it real quick. I've gone over this before, but before I close this out tonight, I'm going to go over it. So when I first started covering the John O'Keefe Karen Reed case, I stumbled upon a brand new press conference held by Michael Morrissey about a family that was found deceased. And I want you guys to hear this. This is from 8 months ago.
We're coming back on the air as we continue to follow some breaking news for you. Police say a mother, father, their teenage daughter were found dead in a home in Denver last night. Officials providing an update now. Let's listen in.
I just, it'd be very brief, the comments I have today, but the Dover police received a 911 call at approximately 7:24 in the evening. The call came from a family member who was doing a well-being check at the residence of 8 Wilson's Way.
Now, 7:24 in the evening, the night before. Okay, the night before, guys.
Check on family members.
The night before this press conference, which is happening live then. You know what I mean?
That individual entered the property, and he did find an apparent victim at that time, and that he immediately had called 911 to report it. The Dover police immediately responded. 3 individuals who are all residents of the home were found to be deceased. They are Tina Kamal, Kamal, Ariana Kamal. Tina, T-E-N-A, is 54. Ariana Kamal is 18, and Rakesh Kamal, 57. All residents and family members. I would say this is an event to remember that domestic violence crisis crosses all economic and social situations. During the search of the premises, the state police did find a firearm on the premises. The medical examiner has taken the case and will determine the cause and manner of death maybe as soon as today. We expect autopsies to occur very soon, but it's clear that this is a confined situation to.
So an autopsy the very next day, and he's already ruled it a murder-suicide, right?
To this individual dwelling, and there's no threat to the residents of the town. If you, for those, especially any time of year, but even times get difficult around the holidays, if you feel unsafe in your relationship, we want to remind people there's help out there and available safety planning. I can talk to you.
There's been no investigation conducted yet. There hasn't been any time for an investigation conducted yet. At 7:24 p.m. the night before, there was this wellness check and then there's this family that's found dead, a murder-suicide, right? But he's already determined that it's a murder-suicide, and he's already determined that it's the motive was domestic violence. But he's determined all of these things without actually conducting an investigation. I mean, the case is basically closed. He's basically talking about, well, an autopsy, we expected an autopsy to be done today, you know. No forensics, no blood spatter experts come in to investigate, no ballistics. Nothing in regards to actually finding out who fired the gun definitively, which direction, what part of the head or what part of the body that was the killing shot. None of this stuff there has been any time to determine, yet he's already determined the cause of death and the motive.
In specific situations, the Mass SafeLink domestic violence hotline has a number, and I'd ask if you could post that. It would be helpful to a lot of people, I hope, at this time of year. 877-785-2020, and they have operators that are bilingual and can get access to multilingual help and assistance. And the state also has a crisis.
Now, you're saying John O'Keefe's press conference, Olivia. Now, I was thinking if they were such. And we're kind of on the same page there, because my thoughts were kind of right alongside there, parallel. If Michael Morrissey's office was such an assistance to Josh Levy and the FBI in the Sandra Birchmore case and the arrest of Matthew Farwell? Where were the Massachusetts State Police? Where was the Massachusetts State Police presence during the bust? And where was the Massachusetts State Police presence? And where was the Norfolk County DA's presence during the press conference that Josh Levy held? Because you know he's not going to miss that camera time. There he is holding a press conference right there. Real confident to hold one and determine a murder-suicide and announce a murder-suicide before there's even an investigation conducted. Without an investigation even being conducted, here he is saying to the world that this was a murder-suicide. But people want to go, oh, see? Oh, my God. See, Josh Levy, he thanked them. Well, yeah, that's called a professional courtesy. That's called just being polite. That's what you do. You do it for looks. But when you do something, when you realize that somebody's doing something for looks, you look, right? And I looked, and I sure as fuck didn't see Michael Morrissey, the camera ham that we all know that he is. The camera ham Michael Morrissey was nowhere in that press conference, standing next to Josh Levy, talking about how they conducted the investigation into Sandra Birchmore that led to the arrest of Matthew Farwell. That didn't happen, did it? Where was Tully? But you're going to see Tully here.
Helpline at 988, which again, emphasis on mental health, but they can also refer people to any kind of services that they may need. This is very unfortunate, and our heart goes out to the entire Kamal family on this terrible tragedy.
Is the early thinking that this was a murder-suicide?
I'm not going to comment what it is. I'll tell you that
exactly
on the premises, all three people. Obviously, it was apparent to those who went in that there was.
Yeah, listen to this.
Thinking that this was a murder
goes out to the entire Kamal family on this terrible tragedy.
Is the early thinking that this was a murder-suicide?
I'm not going to comment what it is. I'll tell you that there's a gun on the premises. All three people. Obviously, it was apparent to those who went in that there was
So he doesn't want to outright say that it was a murder-suicide before the autopsy takes place. He doesn't want to outright say that shit. Good night, Cherry. Thank you for everything today. He doesn't want to outright say that shit because he knows it's premature. That's what's really funny here. He knows it's premature, but he wants to say it because the fucking press is sitting there saying it. He sat there and gave this whole spiel about domestic violence. And if you need to reach out, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So you're telling us that it's a murder-suicide without telling us that it's a murder-suicide. So when this member of the press calls you out on it and says, was it a murder-suicide? He knows that he can't outright say that yet because he knows it's too premature. So he's basically telling the world that they are calling this a murder-suicide without calling it a murder-suicide, but also without conducting an investigation.
That they were deceased. I just leave it at that.
And the two older individuals, were they married, and the younger individual was their child?
That's my understanding.
Where were they found? Any surviving members of the family?
Well, there are relatives both here and abroad, but I think that's the entire family membership.
In that family.
In that family, but there are extended family that does, live here and also abroad, it took a little while to make sure we had the disclosures to the family before we could talk to you.
Can you tell us where they were found inside?
No, I won't tell you that at this
How long
time.
do we think the bodies had been in there? We saw boxes outside.
Well, again, I would suggest to you that the medical examiner will determine that period of time. I can't tell you specifically that it happened last night, and so we're waiting for further information on that.
Can you say who the handgun is registered to?
I don't know who was registered to at this time. That's part of the ongoing investigation, and I will not tell you at this time where it was found.
So They don't even know if who the handgun was registered to, if it was registered to anybody inside the house. So if it's a murder-suicide, how can you determine that it's a murder-suicide without even checking to see who the handgun belonged to? You haven't even run the gun to find out who owned it? This is, and you can tell by the fact that he's just fumbling over his words when the press is asking him perfectly legitimate questions. The press is just kind of dumbfounded, like, wait, what?
Found, but it was found. I guess I would say it was found near the husband. I'll just leave it at that.
And the police were called to the home before? About them
No,
going to the house? Was it because they didn't show up for Christmas? Was there a
No,
reason
no.
why?
I believe that a family member may live in the area and had been in contact with them and hadn't heard from them in a day or two, and happened to go over to just go by the house to check on him, and that's what they found. There's been no police reports. There's been no problems, no domestic issues, no nothing at that house or in the entire neighborhood that I'm aware of.
So there are no suspects being sought.
Okay.
No, nothing happened in the area. Didn't tell you. I don't know who was registered to at this time. That's part of the ongoing investigation, and I will not tell you at this time where it was found. But
listen to this shit
I guess
again.
I'd say it was found near the husband. I'll just leave it at that.
And the police were called to the home before? About them
No,
going to the house? Was it because they
So far, you just got a gun that was found near the husband. And you just gave a whole spiel on domestic violence. You found a gun that was next to the husband, and you have already determined that this was a murder-suicide. You haven't run the gun to find out who it belonged to. You haven't tested the gun for prints. Nothing. Yet you've already determined that this is a murder-suicide. But you know better than to say those words out loud during a press conference. But you did say that it was a murder-suicide because you gave a whole spiel on domestic violence. So, okay.
didn't show up for Christmas? Was there a
No,
reason
no.
why?
I believe that a family member may live in the area and had been in contact with them and hadn't heard from them in a day or two, and happened to go over to just go by the house to check on him, and that's what they found. There's been no police reports. There's been no problems, no domestic issues, no nothing at that house or in the entire neighborhood.
So, not in that house, not in the entire neighborhood. So now there's this whole speech on domestic violence, a gun found next to the husband, but no prints have been run, no registry on the gun has been checked. So, and there's no history of domestic violence in that household. Nobody's ever called 911 in that house. Nobody in that neighborhood has called 911 about that house. That doesn't usually happen in a domestic violence situation. So far, you haven't given us any reason to believe that this was a domestic violence situation, other than you giving us this whole speech and lecture on domestic violence and how to deal with it. This PSA on domestic violence. Okay.
Neighborhood that I'm aware of.
So there are no suspects being sought.
And any of the reasons for what may have happened is part of the
So he completely avoided that question. So no suspects are being sought, right?
ongoing investigation.
So what gives you confidence there's no outside party involved?
Well, there was no sign of any kind of a break-in, and the fact that how it played out to investigators, and we're waiting for the medical examiner to make that final determination. But I think I'm led to believe that it's safe for me to tell you this is probably a domestic incident. So I will
Wow.
leave it at that. I'm led to the medical examiner to make that final determination. There's no sign of any kind of a break-in.
Okay.
Gunfire or report any gunfire?
So no sign of a break-in. So no sign of forced entry. And that automatically makes it, oh, well, this is open and shut. No sign of forced entry. Open and shut. No sign of forced entry, gun next to the dad. Hey, you know what that sounds like? Today, to me. Now, I don't know if that's true, but because of everything, because of how insane the John O'Keefe, Karen Reed situation and Sandra Birchmore situation is, because of how insane the Turtle Boy situation is alongside these things, what he's talking about and describing sounds like a lazy frame-up job. That's it. It doesn't sound like a domestic violence situation. It sounds like a lazy fucking frame-up job. And I don't even know if that's the case. But it's fucked up that my mind goes there. And the only reason my mind goes there is because of how fucked up these people handle investigations.
I'm not. The only call was the one call from the relative who came to do the well-being check. It's in a nice neighborhood. It's a safe community, and I'm not aware that any of the neighbors were aware of anything at all.
Are you familiar with everything on this house?
I'm not familiar with any of the financial situation.
What was the last homicide in Dover?
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
And before that?
I don't think I ever had one before that. Okay. So that's at least a dozen years. So.
Wait, what?
I'm not familiar with any of the financial situation.
What was the last homicide in Dover?
So you haven't even investigated motive. That's awesome.
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Wait, what was
the situation?
What was the last homicide in Dover?
The last homicide in Dover was fucking 4 years ago. Awesome.
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
And before that?
And before that?
I don't think I ever had one before that.
I don't think I ever had one before that. Amazing. I mean, because of this guy giving this shady press conference, and also because of all of the other insane shit that we're all aware of, this is the shadiest shit sounding. This is the most shadiest sounding shit I've ever fucking heard. This guy is sitting here saying basically case closed, and he can't answer a fucking thing. He doesn't even try to fucking act like he knows more by saying, I'm not at liberty to discuss that because it's still an open investigation. He doesn't even do that. He stands there and goes, I don't know. Beats the shit out of me. I don't fucking know. Don't ask me. Fuck. Last time there was a fucking murder there, I don't know, 2020. Before that, I don't think I ever had one. I don't know. I don't know if the gun was registered to anybody in the house. I don't know. This is unreal, dude.
So that's at least a dozen years. So
that's at least a dozen years.
Have this kind of a violence situation in almost in any community in Norfolk County, and particularly Dover. It's a small, well-run, well-policed community, but like everybody else, that there are problems out there that can affect no matter where you live. That some of this comes through in every community we have in Norfolk County, and a lot of times the violence we see in Norfolk County are people who are related to each other, unfortunately. So.
What's your message to the Dover community?
Dover community is to say a prayer and their heart should go out for the entire Kamal family, and that they should feel safe. They have a good police department, and this is just an isolated incident. Very unfortunate for those involved in the extended Kamal family.
Do you tend to see things like this around Christmas, around New Year's, the holiday season?
I hate to see it at any time, but it's just, I can't tell you that. I think some of the tensions that people feel in relationships often come out around the holidays, which is why we try to get the message out. And I'm asking you to do that as well. But we see it all times of the year. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's the nature of the county. Every county in the Commonwealth has different things that occur. As you know, that our priorities tend to be, if there is a murder, it's usually someone who knows somebody.
Is
this victim a Dover High School student?
I don't believe so. We've not been able to confirm that.
Do you know where she went to school?
I do. She went to Middlebury.
Middlebury.
And she was a recent grad of Milton Academy?
I can't confirm that.
Are you a dad? Like, I can't imagine having to go inside a home and find this 2 days out from the holiday, and we're just approaching the New Year's
She must be from Channel 5.
holiday and New Year's
I
Eve.
can't imagine whether you're a dad or not, or just any kind of a family member that
These fluffed up ass questions, these fluffed up ass fucking questions for this dude because he's fucking politicking.
it's tragic. I mean, we see this too much and too often across the
Are
Commonwealth.
you a
which is why we
dad?
place
Because
such
it
an
must have
emphasis on
broke your
domestic
heart.
violence and prosecuting domestic violence. And
Why is this fucking idiot asking him how he feels, bro? Why do you think that anybody watching this gives a fuck how this fat fuck feels? I don't give a fuck how this meatball fucking feels. I want to know what he's doing about a fucking triple homicide that happened in his in a neighborhood where homicides don't happen under his watch. I want to know what he's doing about that. I don't give a fuck how he feels.
also trying to get people help. I mean, none of us like to see anybody locked up. We would rather get people get help and assistance when they need it. And this is just very, very unfortunate because not only does it affect the Kamal family, but it goes out to the entire Toma community. And I think because of the message you people send out, it will ring true across not only Norfolk County, but across the Commonwealth. We don't like to see incidents like this. And it's just, it's saddening, really. So,
wow.
Have you been in touch with Milton Academy or Middlebury College?
No, not I have not, but I can't tell you someone else hasn't been.
Can you tell us the age of the
I can. The Tina, T-E-N-A, Kamal, 54, Ariana, 18, and Rakesh, R-A-K-E-S-H, is 57.
And all three shot.
And I just said there was a gun involved, and so I'm waiting for the medical examiner to come back
Jesus,
with the
man.
cause of manner of death. But that's why I'm telling you there was a gun found and a gun involved.
You said the gun was found near the husband.
That's all I have to say on that matter.
Thank you very much. Sir, Tina is T-E-E-N-A online? You said two E's, right?
Two E's.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you all for
so
coming.
much.
I'm awful sorry we have to be brought out.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, you've been listening to Michael Morrissey there. He is the Norfolk County District Attorney. And according to his office, here's what we know. Very few details out of what he just said, but according to his office, police received a 911 call. This was around 7:30 last night by a family member who had stopped by to check in on the family. This is the Kamal family here.
Oh, they
When
didn't
officers
show
later
it.
arrived just a few moments after that. They found the man, a woman, and their
This isn't the press. I mean, this isn't the channel of that press conference that I found. Because he actually turned questions over to Brian Tully at one point. The one that I covered before, he referenced Tully and pointed at him, and the camera jumped on Brian Tully. Like it happened. And I was just like, dude, look at this motherfucker's right next to him everywhere. And like this motherfucker's his hands are in this shit, and it sounds that shady. I mean, yeah, they cut Tully out of that piece, but Tully was there, and Tully was in charge of that investigation because Michael Morrissey said it in that very press conference. So, I mean, yeah. Yeah, this is fucking wild as shit in the world, man. I can't believe, I mean, I can believe it, but it's like it's just stupid. It's just so they 2020 omitted crucial, vital pieces of information necessary to understand this case better, to truly understand this case. I mean, and tons of it, simply because they would have to credit an independent journalist for that information. And in order to avoid the reason why they avoided doing that is for the pettiest fucking greediest reason in the world. And it's out of fear of promoting inadvertently independent journalism, because it just takes money out of their pocket. And that's why they did it. That is exactly the motive behind why 2020 did that. It's not because they're lazy. It's because, because I mean, think about that. Think about the reason why I come to that conclusion is because I have to ask the right question. And the right question is, why would 2020 omit so much, a treasure chest of information that would make the story that they spent 2 hours telling today 100 times more interesting? Something that would attract way more viewers, get so much word of mouth going around the fucking water cooler at work on Monday around the country. The juicy details made available of this case that are available of this case, they would have to credit an independent journalist for a lot of that information. And if they were to do that, they would be promoting inadvertently. They know this. They would be inadvertently promoting independent journalism, which would take money out of their pockets. That's the only reason that I can think of. Because if if your job is to make a shit ton of money by putting out the most entertaining case to follow in true crime, because that's why people follow true crime, make no mistake about it. The more juicy the drama, the better, the more entertaining. And if you take these facts of this case that have been brought to light so many times, so many fucking bomb drop moments with Higgins. I mean, so many. We've been talking about them all night. We've been listing them all night. Great callers that called in after a while. Those first ones were that was funny. But I mean, people brought up great points. We're all on the same page here. They could have absolutely told an incredible story tonight that would have got a lot of word of mouth. And I have to ask, well, why wouldn't they do that? Well, if that means that they're afraid of losing money, why? What could cost them money? Well, they would inadvertently be promoting independent journalism, which would hurt them. That's the only logical reason that I can think of why they would sit on so many mind-blowing facts of this case and not report them. Tonight was a lesson. I mean, this covering this case has been a lesson, but I now I know for sure, without a doubt, that this is what the issue is. I have never been more sure of anything in my life. So, anyways, guys, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. And a special thank you to those of you who joined the memberships and joined the Discord and hung out with me earlier, and Cherry. We had a great time, and I'm really grateful to Cherry for everything that she did tonight. So thank you, Cherry, for everything you did. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, folks. Thank you guys for subscribing. If you're new subscribers, I hope you're enjoying the channel, and thank you guys for hitting the like. Please do so if you haven't already. Thank you guys for all the support. You guys are amazing. I love you guys so much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.